Worms love this. Build your own DIY worm composter, no tools needed. Want richer soil, less waste, and happier plants? All without spending a dime on fancy gear? You're about to learn the best-kept secret in backyard gardening: worm composting. Let's face it, most of us toss food scraps in the trash without thinking twice. But what if I told you that same kitchen waste could become black gold for your garden? And even better, you can make it happen right in your backyard, without a single tool or expensive setup. That's right, no drills, no saws, no power tools, just you, a couple of buckets, and the unsung heroes of soil health: worms. Today on Soil and Crop Central, we're diving into the ultimate guide to creating your very own DIY worm composter. It's simple, it's effective, and your plants will love you for it. If you're a home gardener who wants to grow more, waste less, and do right by the earth, this is where it all starts. Ready to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty in the best way possible? Let's jump right in. Why worm composting is the best garden move you'll ever make. Worm composting, also known as vermicomposting, isn't just a trendy eco-project. It's a powerful, natural way to break down food scraps and turn them into nutrient-packed compost that plants go crazy for. And the best part? It's super low maintenance once you get it set up. Every time you toss a banana peel or coffee grounds into the trash, that waste ends up rotting in a landfill. But when worms get to it first, they transform it into worm castings, tiny soil-like nuggets that are full of nitrogen, phosphorus, and all the micro-life your garden needs to thrive. These castings improve soil texture, boost water retention, and naturally fend off plant diseases. Worm compost isn't just fertilizer, it's life support for your garden. Not to mention, it keeps your garbage from smelling up the house, cuts down on landfill waste, and gives you a completely free source of premium compost year-round. Whether you're growing tomatoes in raised beds or herbs on your patio, worm composting delivers results you can see. Choosing the right worm composter that actually works for you. Before we build, let's talk design. There are a few common DIY styles out there, but not all are created equal. You've got your plastic bins, stacking trays, and layered totes. Some people go for fancier multi-tiered systems, but honestly, if you're watching Soil and Crop Central, you probably want something that works and doesn't cost a fortune. If you're tight on space, a compact bucket system might be your best bet. If you've got a shaded backyard corner, a larger tote bin can handle more food scraps and more worms. We're going to walk you through a setup that's simple, scalable, and doesn't need a single tool. This build is perfect for anyone. Whether you're composting on an apartment balcony or in a rural backyard, it's low-tech, foolproof, and totally beginner-friendly. So let's talk about how to build a DIY worm composter without using any tools at all. Here's what you'll need: 2 plastic storage bins, each about 10 to 14 gallons, and it's best if they're opaque to keep out the light. You'll also want one lid that fits nice and snug on one of the bins. Next, grab a brick, a piece of wood, or really anything sturdy enough to elevate one bin inside the other. For bedding, you'll need something moistened, like shredded cardboard, newspaper, or coconut coir. Toss in a couple of handfuls of garden soil too, since it helps the worms digest their food. You'll also need about 2 cups of water to get that bedding just right. And last, but definitely not least, you'll need red wigglers. These little worms are the real composting heroes. First, go ahead and place the brick or your spacer at the bottom of one bin. Then, just nest the second bin right inside it. This setup creates a drain chamber underneath to catch any extra liquid, which people often call worm tea. That stuff, by the way, is like liquid gold for your plants. Next, make your worm bedding. Shred some cardboard or newspaper into thin strips, soak them in water, then wring them out until they're damp like a wrung-out sponge. Add this bedding to the bottom of your upper bin until you've got a layer about 4 inches thick. Mix in a handful of garden soil. This helps the worms digest food better by giving them some grit and beneficial bacteria. Now comes the fun part. Add your worms. Red wigglers are the best choice here. They love decomposing organic matter and are super easy to manage. Lay them gently on top of the bedding. They'll naturally burrow down to escape the light. That's it. You've just built a working worm composter. Put the lid on, tuck the bin somewhere shady and cool, and you're officially in the worm farming business. Alright, let's talk about feeding your worms and, keeping them happy. Worms aren't really picky eaters, but they do have their favorites. Stick with fruit and veggie scraps, coffee grounds, tea bags, crushed eggshells, and small bits of bread. Avoid things like meat, dairy, oils, spicy foods, and anything processed. These can make the bin smell and attract pests. So feed your worms once or twice a week. Just lift the top bedding, place the scraps underneath, and cover them back up. Try to keep the bin moist but not soggy. If the bedding feels dry, just add a sprinkle of water. If it's too wet, mix in some dry, shredded paper to soak up the extra moisture. A good trick is to check if it feels like a damp sponge. That's your sweet spot. Worms also need air, so crack the lid slightly, or drill a few holes in the side if you want better airflow. But in this no-tools version, just lifting the lid for a minute every couple of days will do the trick. Keep an eye on how fast the worms are eating. If you notice food piling up and starting to smell, ease off feeding for a bit. Let them catch up. Healthy worm bins smell like fresh soil. If it stinks, something's off. How and when to harvest worm castings? After about 2 to 3 months, you'll start to see dark, crumbly compost forming in the bottom of the bin. That's worm castings, and honestly, it's some of the best stuff you can put into your garden. To harvest it, just push all the compost to one side of the bin and add fresh bedding and food to the other side. The worms will slowly migrate toward the fresh food over a few days. Once they've moved, go ahead and scoop out the finished compost. You can also dump the whole bin onto a tarp under bright light. Worms really hate light, so they'll dive down. Just scrape off the top layer of compost until you reach the worms, then return them to their bin with fresh bedding. If you notice liquid building up in the bottom bin, pour it off and dilute it with water. Use a ratio of 1 part worm tea to 5 parts water. This makes an amazing liquid fertilizer for your garden. Pour it directly onto soil around your plants every couple of weeks for a healthy boost. Using worm compost in your garden can really give you maximum results. Now that you've got your worm castings, it's time to put them to work. You can mix them into your potting soil, sprinkle them around your plants, or even brew a compost tea to use as a foliar spray. Castings are gentle enough to use anytime, even with delicate seedlings. They help improve soil structure, attract beneficial microbes, and deliver slow-release nutrients that keep your plants growing strong. Compared to store-bought fertilizers, worm compost is completely natural and balanced. There's no risk of burning your plants, no chemicals, and honestly, no guesswork. It's just pure, living nutrition. Your tomatoes will be redder, your greens will be richer, and your flowers, they'll pop like never before. Closing thoughts from the Soil and Crop Central crew. Worm composting isn't just a garden hack. It's a mindset shift. It's about working with nature instead of against it. It's about turning waste into something wonderful, and doing it all from your own backyard, with nothing more than a couple of bins and some wriggly friends. Once you start, it becomes addictive. You'll find yourself bragging about your worm farm, checking on your castings like they're buried treasure, and honestly, seeing the difference in every plant you grow. So if you're ready to stop throwing away good compost and start giving your soil the love it deserves, build your DIY worm composter today. No tools, no fuss, just better gardening. And hey, don't forget to hit subscribe to Soil and Crop Central for more down-to-earth tips that grow results. Your soil and your worms will thank you.